the show. I'm Jim Lowenstern, and this is Real Estate on Sunday. Today it's going to be sort of a throwback to 2 or 3 years ago when I was solo on the radio doing my Jim Lowenstern show. We're going to start the show quickly with real estate news story. Top news story today that I found was Fannie Mae first quarter sentiment survey for 2015 indicates a rosy forecast for mortgages. And we have a guest on the line today from Malibu, California. That's why I'm wearing the Hawaiian shirt. And it is Bob.
When we click on it,
Hello, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
Now we're on the air.
We're on the air. Good morning.
Introduce yourself, Bobby, please, to our audience.
Hello, audience. I'm Bobby Lehmkuhl from Malibu, California.
All right. We're so happy to have you on the show today with us. Let's talk a little bit about your history in the industry, but even before that, did you grow up in Malibu?
No, I didn't I have grown up in Malibu, but I didn't get here until I was a teenager after my parents got divorced. But my cousins have been here since the late 40s, and my great aunt. So we have some history here.
Since you've been in Malibu, have you always been in real estate? What brought you to the industry?
Well, I made my first deal in 1988. I was pretty young. That was a while ago. What happened was there was a couple of friends that I had, and three of us bought 2 homes together in the valley here in California. The valley, San Fernando, Santa Clarita, and Antelope Valley are the 3 valleys that we dealt with. And we couldn't afford to purchase here. One of the friends was selling these townhomes down where I lived in Latigo, like mid-Malibu. And that's how it all started.
So after investing in real estate, you got your broker's license, or you had your license first?
I had my license first. I worked for Ford Motor Company, and I started out in collections and then went and worked for a major player, Mr. Bachman, who's still a mentor to this day. And basically, we bought some homes. I watched my mother buy some property back east, oddly enough, in Maine, which I still own property in Maine, and watched her develop a hillside, and it paid off our home. So I always had that in the back of my mind that I could do. I could really maneuver in real estate.
So you have your own company now, correct?
Yes. I do have partners. I have 3 other partners, but the company, I bought the website back in the early 90s, well, probably mid-90s, and not realizing what it was going to become. And then I took on, our bookkeeper is still with us, the original, and Danielle was my right hand. She's still with us. And then we merged. We had Brant, and then we merged with Aton, and that's the 4 of us, which doesn't really have anything to do with the 4Malibu.com.
Right.
We didn't know there was going to be 4 partners when it started.
So you yourself owned the URL at that point?
Yes.
Early on. What sets you apart from your competition?
Service, I would say, and just being present. We pretty much eat, live, and breathe real estate. We train 5 days a week on various aspects of real estate, and we take it serious. We're not in numbers as far as we don't just hire anyone, or to bring in an associate. We're very, very, very picky about who we bring in, especially now.
So how many associates do you have?
We have about 20, and to put it into perspective, in Malibu, this is the latest report from January, and the report was from Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker does about 30% of the beach, Sotheby's and Prudential merged together, they do about 11.5% of the beach. And those are pretty big companies. Sotheby's bought Prudential here in Malibu.
Right.
And we do 10.5% of the beach.
Very good.
And it goes on down the line. So we're in third place in the last 12 months rolling with very few agents. And to put it into perspective, I'm guessing Caldwell has over 300 agents here in Malibu.
So per agent productivity...
You cross them.
So if you're doing statistics, and anyone can be number one in some statistic, as far as agent productivity, you're number one.
I would say pound per pound, dollar for dollar, we are definitely number one in that area.
Okay, good. So I'm talking to the right guy. Explain when you say the beach, and now you were specifically referring to all of Malibu?
No, just everything on the beach side of the Pacific Coast Highway, on the sand.
Now, many years ago, I drove up the Pacific Coast Highway, and I think I didn't go past Malibu, but I remember being at the beach and seeing like a tennis court hanging off a cliff. It looked like the cliff had eroded under it, and looked like all the brush had been burnt, and the water was freezing. So I thought to myself, I don't think this is for me. But I know that Malibu has some very expensive real estate and probably some very famous residents.
Yeah, and when you said that, why would someone choose us? I mean, we do represent some, from A-list clientele to Fortune 100 and Fortune 400, and I really believe that we call it the power of trust. But I believe it's the confidentiality and how we handle situations. And I mean, obviously I'm under confidentiality agreements with a lot of these deals, so I can't really talk about it. But even in the last few weeks, we've been on the radar where people have been trying to get information, and we had one of the business managers call and basically tell us, hey, thank you. We realize you're doing everything to keep it as confidential as possible, and he's like, they were very grateful for us. And I really think that's another part of it, having our ear to the ground. We work here, we live here. And it's not like we wouldn't make a sale anywhere else in the country. We've sold in the Carolinas. We've sold in British Columbia. We have property listed in Fiji and internationally. We just happen to be, here in Malibu. It's 27 miles long, and there's a lot of property from the mountains to the beach. Like, there's really, really, really beautiful area. I can't even tell you how awesome it is.
So you're handling properties in other states and other countries. How do you market them? How do you show them? How do you handle those sales?
Well, I mean, pretty much a lot of it is online. I would say that it's gone to that, as you're probably aware. Most of it is online. We do print. We put it in, depends on what we're advertising, but it could even be in the local papers that we have something in Fiji. Our other partner owns an island and a resort in Fiji and a home there. And we just kind of fell into it. Brant's family, they have property in Hawaii. He has his license in Hawaii as well. So, it's more of referral. It's not like we're trying to reach out, but if one of our clients wants us to handle something, we absolutely do it.
So how does it work? Let's say you mentioned North Carolina. You have put the listing on your website, you advertise it in some magazine, you get a call. Who's doing the showing?
In this case, in the Carolinas, we sold a Burger King that was to one of our investors. So we didn't actually list that property, but let's say we did have a listing. We had a listing in British Columbia. Okay. Obviously, we couldn't get there. It was at Kicking Horse Mountain, especially from Malibu. It's a long trip to do the showing. So we partnered up. We get a referral agent up there where our client wants us to handle it explicitly, but we let them do the work as far as boots on the ground, and we just handle the transaction.
Okay.
We use his, eyes and ears, and you find someone you can trust through networking.
So if you're advertising it, they're mentioned as the listing broker because they have the license there, correct?
Yeah, well, we just co-list it with them. We put it's us, and we put it on the sites. We actually did most of the advertising for that property, and we even put it on our MLS here.
Okay. So you're an independent, correct?
Independent.
So there's all these franchises out there that are probably knocking on your door, and
I'm under confidentiality about that too, but absolutely we've been approached. I think it's more they just want to get rid of us, but they have approached us. Several franchises have approached us.
And what are your plans? Oh, well, what do you think of franchises in general?
I came out of Caldwell Banker, and I did work for which used to be the largest independent in Malibu, Pritchett Rapp. Not to give them a plug or any of them, but right now I don't have shoes on. I'm in jeans, and I get to be myself. I don't have to. We left because we didn't like the way that they did things. So in order for us to change, we either had to make a decision. We either become a change agent in a huge corporation where it's so hard to turn the wheel. And I think the main reason we left, Jim, is that the leadership couldn't make an instant decision. And that's the main reason that I left. And then obviously Danielle came with me, and we just decided to go for it on our own, and probably the worst time in real estate history for us, biggest depression or anything I've ever lived through.
Okay, I totally get it. So they're like the big cruise ship, and you're like the speedboat. You can just do loops around and turn on a dime. So what was that aha moment? There was something that happened. What happened?
Well, it's been a long time, but what really did it was a few things. When I left Caldwell, and then I was getting recruited by another company, a couple companies, and it was more of the money. It always comes down to the money was the first reason, and then the second reason was still about the money, but something happened within the organization, and I didn't feel leadership stepped up and defended us for what we do and how we work. We're typically, we do the work in real estate, and we're like the first ones here and the last ones to leave.
Right.
And I feel like that something happened, and they kept putting off what was going to happen with management and how they were going to handle us. And I finally, by the time they came to a decision, I was like, fellas,
it's too late.
It's way too late. And they were actually hoping we would fail, but we didn't.
So many questions. Okay, so Malibu sounds like a pretty cool place. I look at the rents there, they're like, I don't know, $40,000 a month.
We have one property right now for $750,000 a month.
Okay, so right, so 40 is like entry level.
No, I have not lost sight of where I came from. I think that's, and to pay $500,000 a year before you turn the lights on is a really good rent factor for someone. You're doing well.
But you just said $750,000 per month, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's that property like?
Pretty amazing. A bluff property. It's on one of the more famous bluffs in Malibu.
So it's not even on the beach?
No.
So
there's stairs down to a road, but it's really close. Like at night, you could definitely hear the waves, and probably during the day.
So you're going to pay $9 million a year for rent, and you have to walk to the beach?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
You can't have everything, Jim, for $750,000.
And so what's that property worth if you were going to price it for sale?
It would be a priceless property. I think on those bluffs, the highest one just sold for, that I know of, sold for 60, and I know of another one that's not on the market, that supposedly is under contract right now, and I heard that's close to 50, and it's not done. It's still under construction. All three of the dwellings on that property, the guest house and the main house, everything's under construction, and I heard they got it for just a little under 50 right now.
So in Malibu, you have, I was just taking a quick look online, was it like 6,000 maybe houses, more or less? 12,000 residences?
13,000 people in the city of Malibu?
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure exactly. I don't have the full house count and condo breakdown.
What I found...
I do track it every week with my partner, and we do write for the local paper to see what the activity is each week and each month. And we post it on our website. We do the work for them. Any agent could go to our website and see it.
I found it unusual. It sort of seemed like 15 to, I don't know, even possibly 20% of all the houses in Malibu were listed on the town's website as vacant.
This is a big second, third, and fourth home area. You know, during the winter time is probably is my favorite time because there's not a lot of people here, and in the summer it's a zoo. People flock from all over to come here. Most of the people you see on the Pacific Coast Highway are visiting. Mm-hmm. And for the climate, it's just it's 70 degrees, probably 70% or less humidity, and it's just gorgeous.
So I know you're going to be there's confidentiality agreements with everyone probably. Can you say who lives in Malibu, like some of the more famous celebrities?
Yeah, of course. I keep a little list, but I can just start.
Like if you go to the post office,
I'll give you some.
Who do you run into?
I'll just give you some names that I know of and have met, like Jeff Bridges. I'll start going down the list. Charles Bronson, Mel Brooks, Pierce Brosnan, Gary Busey, Diane Cannon. Obviously, Johnny lived here. A friend of ours actually grew up around the corner from Johnny Carson when he lived in his last home on Point Hume. Obviously, Cher lives here. Met, before Dick Clark. He did live right behind Brant. I'm trying to think of Danny DeVito, who's done a lot for the community too. I could go down the list. Bob Dylan. I'm just looking. Robert Downey Jr. Sally Field. Okay. Emilio Estevez. Obviously, they're lived right by my mentor, who actually put me through school. Mel Gibson. Trying to think. Larry Hagman. Oddly enough, we're holding open. I know Larry's not with us, but his mom was
Mary Martin.
Mary Martin.
Yep.
And the house we're holding open after I'm on the phone with you, we have the brokers open, but supposedly Mary Martin built this for him as his party pad.
Wow.
Right down by Zuma Beach, and he didn't live in it. Tom Hanks, Goldie Hawn. Oh gosh, Michael Jackson one time lived on Wildlife on the Point. Dustin Hoffman. You could, from Letterman, I could keep. There's so many people.
It's a who's who for sure. So, okay.
Bruce Willis. I'm trying to think of the people that we've. Charlie Sheen, who I met as a youngster when I was out here. Sting, Barbra Streisand.
Now, obviously, they don't all live on the beach because.
No. That's the beautiful thing. Like Sean Penn lived here. The homes on the other side, we call it the land side, have some of the most tremendous views and just property that's just gorgeous, and horse property and vineyards, and it's just really wonderful architecture and real estates.
Is there a lot of undeveloped land in Malibu?
Everybody wants you to be the last one here. It's very difficult to build. That's why you'll look online and you'll be like, oh my gosh, 5 acres for $250,000 that you may never build on in our lifetime.
Really? Why is that?
You've got so many hoops to jump through. Dealing with the city of Malibu. We became a city in 1991. You're dealing with the Los Angeles County, the Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy, and now, and I know they've been around since the 70s, but the California Coastal Commission makes it very difficult for private property owners to develop.
I saw an interesting, when you Google your name, you get a video. It looked like someone had a handheld camera on the television. It wasn't like a first cut edit or whatever of $1 million listing, the Bravo show.
Yes.
And you were on the show. Was it your listing?
Yes.
And who was the actor on the show that day?
Well, that's a long story. Madison and I shared an office together at Coldwell Banker.
Yep.
And we've stayed friends. And even though we're competitors, he actually recruited one of our girls that we had with us. Two of them that did leave during our transition.
Yeah.
And he put us on the show, or if we ever had anything. And I'm always trying to, that's another thing, the network, like contacting Madison, telling him about a house that I have coming up or something like that. That's how it works.
Well, so the question, so I'm watching this video. Okay, so it's Madison, and it was his customer, I guess.
Right.
And the house was $1.4 million, which obviously is not a huge amount of money, but this is going back seven years ago.
The one with, there was a couple. We've been on the show a few times.
With a trailer home.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was up there.
Yeah.
But yes, there were trailers around that home.
So is that Malibu?
No.
Okay.
That is existing, non-conforming, and yeah, that can happen in Malibu, in the older school areas where they haven't caught up with them yet.
So what area was that particular?
In Malibu, that was in the canyons, in Corral Canyon.
But outside of Malibu?
No, it was right on the city line. Absolutely Malibu proper. I mean, ocean climate, see the ocean, amazing views. You're looking over a national park, actually right there in Solstice Canyon.
So, again, I did a search for Malibu, and up comes the Hollywood Reporter. And I don't know what the Hollywood Reporter's doing with a real estate article, but it's the top 25 agents in Los Angeles, and I probably knew about half of them just through networking, and it almost seems like the real estate brokers have a little bit of celebrity themselves out there. Is that your impression of the business? It being so close to the entertainment business, you sort of get sucked into it?
I think that is. I hope that myself personally, I feel like we service that group. And I try not to, I've never thought of myself in that, or wanted to think of myself in that.
You've never had a guest spot on Castle or something like that?
And we've had some, I'm wondering what you've seen. I mean, we've been on Celebrity House Hunting, and we've been on a few shows, but our other partner, Aton, he wants to be low-key, and, we do a lot of stuff off-market where we don't want to fly the flag, where other agents will, advertise it and sell their soul to get out there. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to be known for that. I believe that's why we get so much work and why we handle such of the underground market of transfers. Mm-hmm. I think we can keep things under our hat. So, even though you want to, Jim, you want to tell your dad that you did this, or you won't believe what we have working here, or, guess who moved across the street, or, like that. You just, I don't know, I think over time you learn that it's more important to have that confidentiality.
So that brings up an interesting question. So someone comes to you, whether they're famous or not, but a very expensive property, and say, I don't want to sign, I don't want it in the multiple listing service. I don't want it in Trulia, I don't want it out there. So on one hand, you want to get them top dollar. On the other hand, you can't do any marketing really. What do you do? It's
well, here I'm on both. I walk the fence on that issue because I hear so much of like, if you're not putting it out on the multiple listing service, you're not giving it that fair shot. But also, when you have the clientele and the book of business that we have, we're able to make phone calls to people and to give you an example, if we have a couple opportunities right now where there's 2 properties on the beach, and they're big numbers. And for me, I still think of anything over 10 million is massive. And they're teardowns, and same thing. They didn't want to be seen. And it doesn't have to be a celebrity. I mean, there's most billionaires are in business. It's not like you have a good living from that, but the real businessmen who have the real money, those are the ones that are typically don't want to come into your office. They don't want to sign at the escrow company. We have built a private lounge that we do not advertise for that reason. We have a lounge, a training area, a full bar. We're going to probably build a full kitchen in that area, and it rivals any private nightclub in Hollywood, but we have ocean views in it, and we built that for that reason.
Going back to your training.
L2 there, and be able to network with people who don't want to be in the limelight or don't want to be seen, especially with us talking about selling or buying their property.
Oh, it sounds very interesting. In the training for your agents, you say you do it 5 days a week.
I train 5 days a week myself.
Yeah. I'm
missing the call right now. Every morning at 8, I'm on with my coach, who I've been with, I think, 12 years.
Yeah.
And we train from basically presentation. Like we have a real presentation outline. We have 3 phases to our presentation, all the way down from the intro, goals and objectives, to the last thing is 17 is the future. Like after the closing, what's going to happen with them? And it's not. It's basically question asking and letting them know what we're going to do, because we believe, we believe that all agents are not the same. And I mean, it's not that we believe it, we know it. And we want to prep the client to let them know what we do. We let them know that all agents aren't the same. They can't negotiate the same. They don't have the same set of skills. They don't know the area like we do. They don't have the same results we do. They won't be able to interview and represent your home like we do. We know the house will not sell itself. You need an expert, someone trained in prepping, showcasing, selling the home, and closing the transaction, to get it recorded. The right realtor makes the difference.
I absolutely agree. So you bring up a good point about the interview process. Now, the interview isn't so much for the seller, the interview is for the buyer. Someone comes to you and says they want to buy in Malibu, and they're from out of state or out of the country. They know nothing about Malibu. How do you, I guess, qualify them, number one, but more importantly, how do you introduce them to the city and decide which property is right for them? Well,
that's it. So tomorrow we're going to be at the Skirball, and it's going to be a huge event at the Skirball here in LA, and we're going to be coaching on that subject alone, because most people, what's funny is a lot of people just take buyers out and they don't even know if they can buy, and they're becoming a tour guide for Malibu, and it gets down to it and they can't perform. We pretty much have got it down to this. We work with people, it's called need help, want help, willing to be help, willing to work with us exclusively, and can perform. I personally will not take someone out unless I sit down with them and find out about them, because they may buy a house someday, but it may not be through me. Time is the only thing that we can't make more of. And I have 4 children, so I'm very selfish with my time. I get here early, I leave, and then I give my time to them. So I don't have time to run someone around or meet them on their schedule, or, it's pretty, that's an intense thing what you just asked, because a lot of agents actually waste their time and they're not clear of how to work with a buyer. They don't know what they want to buy and why. They're not clear about where they want to buy and how much they can pay. They have to have a real sense of urgency, obviously the financial resources, and, working with us exclusively. How many times have you heard it? Your sister's in real estate or someone, and they've showed them 50 homes, and the people showed up on a Sunday and signed a contract with someone else on that home. It's the worst feeling in the world, and it's happened to me. Believe me, I've been a tour guide around here, and I just don't want to do it again.
So your buyers are all you have agreements with all of them, written, signed.
Well, that's something that we do that. I personally do that, but all of our brokers, I can't say do that. We're working on that right now. That's part of the training, because you could be out there and you could miss time or miss a step or not handle one of your listings properly because you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to service this client. And it's really more about asking questions, Jim, and that's really what part of the training is. There's so many things as far as from knowing the area, but you need to know who the decision makers are. What's their motivation? Where are they moving from? Do they absolutely have to buy? What is their expectation around price, timing, and, if I give them something, are they ready to react right now? What do they know? What questions do they have about the process? What information are they interested in? Is there any special circumstances? People really don't ask those questions.
The sales are mostly, I would guess, cash sales?
We do a lot of cash sales.
So when you're meeting with the buyer early on, maybe even the first or second meeting, are you getting their financials, getting proof of funds?
It all depends. I mean, if it's someone that you look up and or if you know who it is, if it's a new band that's coming out and, they just signed a record deal, or if it's a guy that just, became partner at the firm, or, you got to be careful because you don't want to insult them. There's such a fine line to working with them, because people, if you hurt their feelings or if they feel that you're not respecting them, they'll go somewhere else.
Right.
So that, preparing and having a strategy for that.
So what is your strategy? That's what I'm asking. How do you handle it?
Well, just by asking the questions. What do you expect? What are you looking for? You're trying to find out what it is they want, what areas they want to live in, what do they know about the town, are they local here, are they just moving here from New York or somewhere else in the world, and they don't know the area, are they looking for us to just drive them around and teach them the area?
So if you ask enough questions, the truth comes out.
Absolutely. And then one of the, for me, it's on the first meeting. I'm like, will you be financing the home, or are you going to pay cash? I flat out ask that question. And the reason I do is we have Bank of America in our office, where we have a rep that is assigned to this office. We used to have Citibank and B of A. We've had a couple of companies like that. So we can get in. If they say financing, and some people get pissed when they get upset, but they'll say, I'll go, okay, I'm going to have Brandon call you, and he's going to go through what your buying power is. And basically, so when that happens, if they don't give that information to him, and I know they're not paying cash, then they're not going out.
Right. Right. Well, Bobby, I don't want you to miss your coaching session. I think we've covered everything. Everything about Bobby Lehmkuhl for Malibu and even Malibu itself. Is there anything you want to add before we end the interview?
No, I don't know. I don't know where. What is this going to be playing to agents or to clients?
The whole world.
The whole world.
Everyone. Everyone who wants. Yeah, listen. It'll come up on your name. It'll come up on a lot of different social media sites, and It's going to be all over one of your favorite sites, I'm sure, Active Rain.
Perfect.
It'll be out there.
Noticed, and you contact us through Active Rain. We love that. You can see we were very active in that for a long time, and we could be more active, but we'll get there.
I had Ben Kinney on the show last week, and he was a big supporter of Active Rain also.
No, it's good. It's good, and I think what you're doing. We've listened to a couple of your interviews with some people we know out here.
L. Ron Smith, probably.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate what they do.
So on the next time we do an interview, I'm sure it'll be sometime. So I'll be asking you how I get my license out in California and how I can come to work for you. It sounds great to have a bar with a water view in the office.
It's not always that easy. I know everyone thinks that they call it in our world, and my own woman calls it lounging at the lounge. But really, we'd rather be surfing or out doing something else. But business is business.
Well, thanks again, Bobby, and have a great day. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right, thanks for having me, Jim.
Okay.
Good day.
Bye. All right, that was fun. So let's see. We're gonna have a quick little commercial break, and I'll be back in a moment.
When you are looking to buy or sell real estate and you are looking for the right realtor to do business with, NewEnglandProsperity.org is a nationwide network of carefully selected brokers who are willing to give both you and your favorite charity a large portion of their commission. These brokers are only too happy to donate to a charity and to credit you back money to help with things such as your mortgage closing costs, title insurance, moving expenses, and more. When you're starting to look for a realtor first, go to NewEnglandProsperity.org and sign up. You'll be referred to a broker who will have your interests first and who will also credit you and donate to charity. Look them up at NewEnglandProsperity.org. And when you sign up on their website, you can expect a top broker to return to you with a call to begin discussing the next steps in your selling or buying process. NewEnglandProsperity.org brokers make it easy to buy and sell real estate, and they make it easy for you to pay for your closing costs because they pitch in with a piece of their commission and they make charitable contributions. For all of the information, just go to NewEnglandProsperity.org. We are changing the way America buys and sells real estate.
Okay, thanks again for joining us. I'm Jim Lowenstern. This is Real Estate on Sunday. We'll see you next time. Bye.